how are we importing cars for 2 million, 7 million, 3 million, 8 million, right? But we can't even get simple foundational things like basic needs, right? That's how I feel right now when I go for an interview.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously you have your own business, right?
Yeah.
So for me, someone who's witnessed this is and who understands that in a business they're not looking for Indians. They're not looking for whites. They're looking for the next black female, bro. This is the fact. They're not looking for no Indians, no whites, no coloreds.
Yeah.
They want a black person to fill this position.
But statistically, what's happening, bro?
Yeah, stats are there, right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying, you talking about what's been happening over the past few years, right? I'm talking from now and future. Today, present. I can't change past, bro. But I can change today, the present.
True, that's true.
At the same time, is that what I'm seeing now is I'm suffering, me personally, as an Indian man.
Yeah.
I suffer to get another job or a higher position.
Yeah.
Because I'm not black.
Yeah.
And because I'm not a female, bro.
Yeah.
That, those two factors play very heavy in the current infrastructure.
Yeah.
In the current infrastructure.
That is true, yeah. PE, yeah.
Yeah, 100%, bro.
Yeah, that is true.
And what is different from apartheid when whites were in control, right, to now,
True.
right? They brought Indians as slaves to work because the black people never wanted to work, right? This is stats speaking as well. That's why we had certain areas where they moved the blacks to one side and then they divided, right? So Durban being one of them. That's Durban, there's a lot of farms. Where there were Indian farmers, right? Otherwise known as coolies, right? That was terminology because they were the Indian slaves.
Yes, yeah.
So what's different now is, well, there's nothing different now. The difference then was white people were in charge and they wanted whites for positions, right? What's happening now is blacks are in charge and blacks want blacks, right? So this topic is so off topic from what we started with, but nonetheless, bro, is that maybe to you it still feels like that, and to a lot of people, but for the rest of us, it feels like we've always just been a part of apartheid. We've always been part of being having to work harder in order to get noticed because of our skin color. Because, like I said, whites wanted whites, now blacks want blacks, and that's just the way it is, bro. And there's a lot of you can disagree with me. It's fine. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen who's the next one. Every time there's a new position, you want the position, you apply, whatever. Who gets it? A black person will get it.
Yeah.
Right? Where this guy came from, you don't even know. This guy wasn't part of the bank for the past 50 years.
Yes.
Randomly, there's guys here now because understand obviously affirmative action, right? To make sure that they can correct all of that. But now we're affirming for the majority of individuals. This is a black country, bro.
Yeah.
The majority of people are black.
Yeah.
So when people suffer, the majority is going to suffer.
That's true.
Right? Like in America, majority of people were white. You still get all those, what they call trailer trash. Right? They suffer. But they're also part of the majority of the color.
That's true.
And it's always going to be that way, bro. In India, same story, bro. Everywhere. You got everyone suffering, bro.
Yeah.
But I'm saying is that in South Africa, the blacks will always suffer because they are the majority.
That's true. Bro.
And you can put in all these these things to help them, whatever the case is. Like we said, education is the number one thing. If you get education right, infrastructure, like you said, then you're giving everyone an equal chance.
Yeah. No, I agree, bro. Like even the whole debate of BE and affirmative, I'm also against it because you're not fixing the problem, which is the lack of education. You're just putting people in places. It's what happened in Uganda, Remember in Uganda, when they gained independence, it was the Indians who built like the railways and shit, and then they became the business owners. Yes. And then the Ugandan government kicked all the Indians away, gave black people the shops, and then the economy collapsed because they didn't have the skills. You understand? I understand that, no? But what I'm saying is, bro, is if that's the case, no? Because even I'm saying across the across South Africa, right? The companies that are JSE, the big companies, whatever, there's still some racial element to it, bro. Yeah. It's just that you have experienced it like firsthand. You understand? But I can tell you, bro, there's still a lot more white people getting that advantage. even if you look at the stats, bro, it's still the minority that owns SA, and the minority is the white people.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you look at the.
It's actually foreign investment, bro.
Yeah.
It's foreigners are the majority in South Africa.
Actually, you understand?
They drive our economy.
The rulers.
Yes.
They took what they had. They said to this Jewish guy or to this German guy, "That's what I got. You want to buy half?"
Yeah.
And the majority who drives our economy, stats-wise, is foreign investment.
Which is the white Europeans and shit, right? So, hence I'm saying is that, but they're still a minority in terms of population.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So the minority still owns the majority. You understand? So until we fix those things, bro, it's like the land issue, bro. Like, like there's so much power. You know, you do property. There's so much power in having a house and land, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
But how is it that like 90 something or 80 something % of whites still own like land and shit, bro?
But it's like when apartheid ended, how much of the measures did we put in place to say we're coming out of this? This is what we want to achieve. Instead, what we did was say there's selected people, the majority. There's like 10% of the majority of black people that now have shares in white people's businesses and are profiting off it. That is why everybody is like, it's still white owned. These people, the leaders that we voted into power, they've chosen not to say, let's look at what we currently, you know, have and how we can distribute. It's say, cool, it's over now, you give me a share of the business. That is why we suffer in that situation. That is why it's still majority of them own property, is because the people that were put into power didn't want the same vision that you wanted. They wanted a piece of the pie.
That's true, that's true.
Which is still the case, yeah.
Yeah.
That is why. So essentially, should we be blaming white people then? If our people added to that, you know, and it's not just black people. I'm saying there's a lot of Indian people who also profited off that. Yeah. Colored people, almost every race. But that 10% of minority that makes up blacks, Indians, coloreds, Asians, I don't know. But all of them profited off that.
Yeah.
That is why the rest of us are all still like, white people are still in charge. They are, because our people decided that.
It's a good point.
A very good point.
Something I wanted to add to that, bro, was I still believe that, like, you know, not to be racist, but like black people are still putting more black people down, right? In this sense, I'll give it to you in this sense. Like, let's look at the president. He has ministers of each area, right? Transport, whatever the fucking areas are.
After you're done, I want you to give your opinion on what you think, like, just a quick opinion between Zuma and Ramaphosa. Who do you prefer?
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's there's the president with all his ministers, right?
Yeah.
In charge of the different sectors.
Yeah.
Right? How are we importing cars for 2 million, 7 million, 3 million, 8 million, right? But we can't even get simple foundational things like basic needs, right? We should stop imports on all technology, stop imports on expensive vehicles, stop imports on all this furniture that comes from I don't know where, right? Of all this prices that's 30,000, 40,000, and whatever the fuck the prices are, bro. If we stop those imports and we took those funds to put into education in those sectors, right? You can then also assist in solving that inequality issues for education.
Yeah, that's true.
And my point is that who's in charge of all these sectors, right? So we can blame the where it's come from. We can blame the root cause. But what's happening now is that the black people are still holding the black people back.
Down, yeah, that's true.
Because of the fact that they are not using they're not using their brains, bro.
Yeah.
You can't be importing Lamborghinis for 7 million and then say, we're alright guys, don't worry. There's kids there who's starving to death.
Yeah, that's true.
But we import a Lamborghini, it's fine. You know what I'm saying? And then also go back to the top of the president, he's in charge, bro.
Yeah.
He's supposed to make the fucking right decisions, bro.
Yeah.
Stop importing the shit, fix up the economy first.
That's true.
So, yeah, bro, so that's just one point. And then you said who would I pick between Zuma and CYRIL?
Yeah.
Look, they both don't benefit me personally, so I would not pick either of them. I don't want... look, we've always been... If you look at history, a dictatorship has always worked for a certain extent. Right? Donald Trump was a dictator, but he was a smart businessman. So when you said he's cutting off Mexicans from the country, right? For whatever reason he was doing it, he was dictating. He doesn't want Mexican people in America, right? So he showed his dictatorship, but he made business moves that built up America's economy. You know what I'm saying? So both of them are they're not dictators, bro. What's the term for them, bro? They're opportunists, bro. They're opportunists, and they've always been friends since young. If you've seen the pictures, you know, they've always, Thabo Mbeki, ZUMA, CYRIL, they've been friends for donkey years, bro. And even the Guptas were friends with them from donkey years ago. So it makes you wonder who was actually in charge of South Africa. Because I would never vote for Indian president, bro. I don't trust Indian people. For the main reason, I know how much we love money. And the fact that the Guptas only came out now not recently, but when we were in high school. But they've been around since like before I was born. It makes you wonder now, so who was in charge of our finances? You know? So none of them, not even Julius. Julius has a good dictatorship personality. I don't think he'd make the right decisions for the economy. So, I don't know, bro. I want it to be someone who has been highly educated, right? Understands South Africa's roots, understands where we come from and everything. But it definitely has to be someone with a lot of education behind them. And even all the ministers need to have a certain level of education before you can qualify to be a Minister of Transport or Minister of Education.
True. I agree.
And that's just my view, bro.
Specialized.
I'm not even right to specialize, right? You need to have this level of education where you understand that by importing 7 million or whatever the fuck they pay in dollars, by importing a 7 million rand car, you are depriving 7 million children. So yeah, bro, that's me.
Look, bro, the reason I was asking is because there's been a lot of like backlash to the current president. He does something, this guy is useless. He does something, I just think there's nothing he can do that's gonna like
make everyone
happy. Because Zuma, when he was president, we all know who he brought. He was a Gupta prawn.
I firmly believe he was just the face. For
control. It's crazy, bro. There were some good things he also done as a president. I just can't remember them.
Wow.
Yeah, I honestly can't.
They were great.
They were great.
Must have been magnificent.
Yeah, fuck, bro. I can't. But there was. I think. Okay. The one thing that did stand out was he introduced free education, even though it was a political move, but he introduced the free education, even though you all knew it was unsustainable. Now back to fees must fall. And I think the unemployment levels were lower out of all presidents when he was in charge. So that's honestly the only thing I can say. Under Ramaphosa, my thing with Ramaphosa, I know a lot of people are like, he's a weak president, he doesn't have that vavavoom, of a dictator. He doesn't have a spine, he's spineless, he's weak. I honestly think, like, first of all, I think he's more of a long-term thinking kind of president. I just think he was dealt a bad hand, in my opinion. They play poker, they give you a bad hand. He was elected literally a year before the pandemic hit.
That's true.
He came in, and I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to clean up the ANC. That is why there's a lot of like groups in the ANC. There's ZUMA, hence this whole thing of the rights. There's a ZUMA camp who doesn't like Ramaphosa because they know if Ramaphosa cleans up, it means that no one's
there goes the corruption.
You understand? You can't thrive now. I think that's what his plan is. I think his plan is to literally clean up the ANC, put these niggas in jail, and then focus, because you can't say you're attracting investments of billions and billions. But when it touches our shores, already there's hands. 500 billion, 500. You're like, what the fuck, bro? I don't even like, you know what I'm saying? So I think he's yes, he might look weak. You see the addresses, he looks tired, he looks depressed, he looks like there's nothing soft spoken. But I think he's very strategic. I think he's if he was given another term, maybe in 2010 or 2013 or whatever, I think he would have done a much better job.
He would have brought some stability.
I really think so. I think he's the right guy. It's just the wrong timing.
It's a possibility because I like his his persona that we see.
Yeah.
I like his stance. I think it's a good point, bro, that he's been dealt a bad hand.
I think so, yeah.
I think it's a very valid point because you can see he's got some level of logic to the situations. He is slow.
Yeah.
But obviously that also comes with the collective of the army and the police force and the lack of help from them. From the ministers there in whatever the case is. So yeah, I think back to topic, bro.